So, what is the role of, the psychological role of a financial advisor? Now, I'm not recommending that you turn your financial advisor into your shrink. They probably wouldn't appreciate that, and they're probably not qualified to be able to deal with that. However, there is a psychological element for people advising clients, certainly when it comes to money, because money, we attach a lot of, it's security ultimately, right? And that can impact us a great deal psychologically if there's market turbulence or things aren't going as perhaps expected, because at the end of the day, if you are invested in financial markets, you're speculating. And when you're speculating, there's going to be risk and there's going to be reward. And that all is determined when you complete a risk profile. So there is a psychological role to a financial advisor and also to an investor. So you also have to be aware of that, and any advisor who is advising you should identify that when you guys first meet. In this video, I'm going to break it down into 6 key points that I think are the most important throughout my experience and also from my own investing. I like to trade markets. I don't day trade, but I do like to swing trade, and that is when you hold positions for anything from a few days to, sometimes I'll hold them for even up to a month or two, depending on the opportunity. And you've got to do a lot of research. I'm not telling you to go and jump in there trading, and that's a whole different topic. And yeah, so let's get to it. First and foremost, number 1, I would say reducing financial anxiety. That is key. And how do you do that? Well, help clients feel more in control by creating structure and clarity around money. Also, it helps break big problems into manageable decisions, and that in turn will ease feeling overwhelmed. That's what I believe. And yeah, because and throughout my time, and I've been in this industry a long time, I've met clients that are approaching 50 and they haven't really done anything, and they've got a huge amount of anxiety, they feel very overwhelmed, and they have to be realistic about their time frame unless they want to really take a lot of risk, which is not something that I would personally recommend. Given that kind of stage of life, you want to be taking it a bit more cautious and slow and steady, in my humble opinion. The next, number 2 out of 6, would be managing biases and kind of behavioral biases, and to recognize common cognitive traps like loss aversion. That's the fear of losing more than the desire of gaining. That would be key. Then confirmation biases. That would be seeking information that only supports their individual beliefs. I sound like a psychologist here, I'm not, by the way. And then also recency bias, which would be placing too much weight on recent events. A really good example of that would be the turbulence created by tariffs and uncertainty through, turmoil in Ukraine and et cetera, other areas as well. So yeah, that can put people off actually pulling the trigger and doing what they need to do. But again, this comes down to their own individual profile and what they're looking to achieve. So an advisor should be able to guide their client to rational long-term decisions despite these emotional triggers, and ones that are sound and within their objective. And that brings us on to number 3, which is building confidence, and certainly like financial confidence. How do you do that? Well, you educate clients to boost their financial literacy and sense of make them kind of self-efficient in the journey as well. I mean, I'm not trying to say talk yourself out of a job, because there's a lot of areas, but also you should be, again, in my humble opinion, educating clients so they are learning along the journey and they aren't just listening to you, but whatever advice you're giving them, they can go check, double check, and make sure it is a sound decision. And that brings us to number 4. And number 4 is supporting identity and values. What does that mean? Well, that means aligning financial plans with personal values, goals, kind of life purpose, because people are all different, right? It's if someone is... I'm thinking on my feet here of a good example. Let's just say you have a client who is a devout vegan. Well, the likelihood is they wouldn't want to be exposed to any companies or sectors that are involved in the kind of agricultural, business, particularly with, how animals are treated for food purposes. Yeah, again, on my feet. So yeah, that's one example. There are lots of others. There's people that are adverse to, investing in oil companies due to the impact on climate change, etc., etc. So yeah, that's really important. And also help clients answer, what does wealth mean to them? Because it's different for everyone else, right? There's like a whole spectrum of what that means. And I'm not going to get into that, but that's really important. And number 5, navigating emotional transitions. And what would be the role there? That would be to act as a steady hand during life changes, whether that be divorce or the unfortunate event of someone passing away within the family, or job loss, or even, let's finish it on a positive, windfalls if they come into like a huge amount of money from inheritance, etc., how to kind of deal with that emotionally, because it's important. Yeah. So then that would bring us on to number 6, which is encouraging positive habits. What would be positive habits? That would be fostering discipline, consistency, and delaying gratification. Some people, not all people, are very impulsive, and they kind of want things now, and they want to just get it. And there are other people that are the complete polar opposite. They just want to not do that, I guess. So it's finding that kind of balance and helping the client on that journey. And that also helps clients override short-term impulses, like I mentioned, in favor of long-term outcomes. So in essence, a great advisor doesn't just manage wealth, they help with emotion, behavior, beliefs, and changes in life circumstances. So if you found this useful, hit the follow, hit the subscribe. If you'd like any more information, drop us an email at info@expatmoneychat. Really appreciate you listening. Thank you. Enjoy your day, evening, wherever you may be. Cheers.